right, everybody, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. Thank you to those of you who are engaging with us. I do appreciate you. Once again, the SMS line is 22999. You can also reach me on social media at SwitchTVKE on Instagram and at SwitchTV Kenya on Facebook and Twitter. I want to introduce my next set of guests now. With me, I have Musa Asubuhi, who's an author, and also Mary Mwangi, who's the director at Wiki Tabu Publishers. Karibuni sana to the show.
Thank
you.
you.
It's good to have you
so
here.
Much.
Now, first of all, I was just saying, Musa Asubuhi, such a cool name. And he says it's the Swahili version of your
my
real
government
names.
government names, yeah.
Gina's ID.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is
Moses Kyoko. But I've been doing life skills for a while, and whenever you go to a school and when I gave that name, it was like, okay, it's normal.
Yeah.
And one day I thought, you know what if I just change my name to Swahili? Did that in a school. They could never forget the name Asubuhi.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. I was trying to think of my name now. I was like, Anyway, welcome to the show. So you're an author.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And you actually have a companion series of books here called Age of the Navigator.
Yes.
The Ultimate High School Companion. So there's Saga 1, Saga 2, Saga 3, all the way to Saga 4.
Yes.
Very interesting. So maybe you can give us a quick synopsis about what this is about.
Okay, so basically imagine Africans in space. Now just take it a bit further, imagine African teenagers in space. So the idea is in the year 2063, there are young teenagers who are Africans who are actually going to space but to do their high school studies there.
Okay.
So the whole story is based around that. And then like a capsule pill where you have the not so tough medicine on the outside and then the real medicine on the inside.
Yeah.
So the fictional story is the outer part of the capsule pill.
Okay.
And then the medicine now is inside, so the life skills. So we engage different things like bullying, homesickness, stress in school, how to deal with failure, extracurricular activities. So for me the idea was, how do I package content relevant for teenagers in a way that they will want to read it.
Very interesting. And I see you even have like spaces here for like journal notes.
Exactly. So it's the whole package. You get it. You have a fictional story that you can follow. You have the life skills that that build you up. You have a journal place where you can write stuff. You also have afterburners. So an afterburner in a rocket is basically the parts in the rocket that allow the rocket to sort of go higher and higher.
Okay.
So in the book, they allow either groups or individuals to sit down and evaluate. So this is what I learned. This is how I'll make it happen in my life and stuff like that. Yeah.
Very interesting, because earlier today we were talking about creativity and morality and whether there's a line that we are now crossing today. And it's very interesting that you've bridged fiction, particularly in this outer space world, which is always something so out there, but really also trying to embed, you know, a learning, a message within it. And even just the way the book is positioned, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this because of the white, but let me try. Is that any good, Shen? Can you guys see that? But there's a persona here, you could say. And then it says, to you reading this book, conquer the space you're in.
Exactly.
I like that quite a bit. And Mary, you know, as the publisher now of this,
yes,
what sort of, because publishers also make decisions as far as what content they're going to publish. So before we get into why you decided to publish this particular series, what's your take on what I was just mentioning about that line between creativity and morality? And for you as a publisher, you know, anything could be a sell, but at the end of the day, you also still have to make a choice. Is that something you grapple with? Is that a decision you grapple with?
Well, first and foremost, let me clarify. Musa is actually the publisher.
Oh.
So I came in as a director to help move forward his business.
Okay.
So in terms of the expertise, it would be Musa, but I also did come in to mentor him in terms of his business development.
Got you.
So that's what I've been able to do thus far.
Okay.
But I am a mom of a teenager, and moral content is paramount in my life. I was listening to your previous guests, and they were discussing how they find it very difficult to ensure that children don't watch content that is going to be detrimental to them. But I feel as parents nowadays, we have, I like the two who are on air.
Yeah.
They're very hands-on with their children.
Yeah.
But I feel for a lot of us, we tend to allow the television to nanny our children.
Yeah.
And because of that, 10, 14 years down the line, your child is behaving in a manner that you can't even understand.
Right.
Because they were taught by this television.
Yeah.
And you never gave them feedback.
Yeah.
I was lucky to be a stay-at-home mom with a part-time career.
Nice.
And to be there for my child. So I watched the cartoons with my child. At first it was very boring, but after a while, I was able to sieve through the cartoons and decide which ones are interesting even to me.
Right.
And you'll find that a lot of these cartoons that they put on air actually have content that's relevant to the parents, but it passes over the child. One of the headmistresses at the school my child went to was also a child psychologist, and she said, understand that this content will sometimes fly over your child, but will go into their subconscious. So you're going to have to, as a parent, be able to break down this content at an age-friendly level to make them understand that it can be detrimental to them.
Absolutely. And so now you've come in to partner with him to help direct him in his business. And again, just I think this juxtaposition of like space and out there and the moral values that you're really trying to bring in is very, very interesting. For you guys now sort of working in the space as you mentor him, again talking about good content, what do you feel is the space for it? Are people being receptive to it? What are some of the challenges perhaps that you face as you try and bring out this work? And I'll ask both of you that question.
Okay, so first of all, maybe a history about the book. I first did it between 2012 and 2014, so a couple of years, 3 years. And then after I was done, there was a lot of learning I had to do to be able to get to a place where I got to even package it the way it's packaged and in a very teenage-friendly way. So that's the one thing. When you're getting into the market, you have to really learn and understand, because things are moving really quick. Content right now has been broken down,
Sure.
So you need to break down your content. You need to make it in such a way that it fosters relationships. So these are some of the things I had to consider while doing it. But then the other interesting thing is when you go to schools with, for example, such books as content, they already have a list within the curriculum that they're supposed to buy. This is an addition. This is like on a normal day having pizza. When you're
supposed to be eating ugali.
Exactly, and you have to consider, do you have the money to buy the pizza?
Sure.
Or are you just going to just tighten your belt and do the ugali? So it's been a bit tricky getting it out there.
I see.
But for the young people who've gotten it, they love it.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, Mary, for you to step into this, clearly you see something.
Yes.
What is it that you're seeing? And to his point that he's making about, when we go into the educational systems, there's already curriculums in place. How can we sort of establish that reading culture, among our children? So it's not just about, it's at the end of the day, just go and watch TV while I try and finish my work. How can we establish reading as a culture so that parents will know, sure, it's an investment, but it's worthwhile?
But it starts with us as parents. Children mirror us. If I'm rude, my child will be rude.
Sure.
If I keep holding a book, my child will be like, oh, what's mommy doing? So we as parents have to start encouraging our children to read. And we also have to start reading. And in terms of the content, I like the fact that he has given us this futuristic, scientific, African experience, which the children love. We've gone to a couple of book fairs in school, and they're like, these are Africans in space, written by an African. They are like, wow. I mean, he became a superstar.
And it's so powerful because in many ways it's the whole Black Panther. Again, today, I just have a million Black Panther references today. But the reason that movie was so important is because it helped Black people visualize themselves as superheroes. And the same way you're saying, Africans in space, because for so long that idea has been so far away from us, and again, you're saying conquer the space that you're in, telling us that you can go out there and you can do great things.
In fact, we have struggled as Africans finding positive images of ourselves put out there in media. we're either, if it's African Americans, a slave. If we're Africans, we're poor with a little fly on our face, and, you know, offer some money, you know. And I'm not saying they're not doing a good job. I'm just simply saying there's so much more to our story. And Musa's book has ensured that this story is being told, that to allow our children to dream and to believe that they can accomplish anything.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you guys for those of you who are engaging with us. McKenna, you're watching us from Thika Road, Asante Sana. Someone else says you're enjoying the show. Thank you. Josh from Joro Girls, Asante Sana for your feedback as well. Someone else says, besides the set books were made to read in high school, I think you say, I guess you love reading and it would be good to read these type of books. And again, 22999 is the SMS line that you can continue sending in your feedback to. So as we continue talking about writing books for teenagers, this, I guess, is one of many.
Yes.
Yeah. What are some of the core issues that you address? You had mentioned a few of them.
Exactly.
But talk to me about some of the main themes within the book as far as the issues that you're trying to address.
So basically look at high school life in a chronological manner. So you're preparing to go to high school, and then you get to high school, and then you're first week in high school, and then you encounter a bit of homesickness, you encounter a bit of bullying. That's exactly how the book flows. So you encounter a bit of stress, you have to engage with extracurricular activities, and at the very end, you have the final exam, you have stepping out of school. So that's exactly how the flow of the book is. So we try and look at the major issues within high school and cater to them in terms of the content we put in. And what I also did is just try to make it very, very teenage friendly. So the language is broken down. It's like a conversation. I actually love just going through it again and again, because for me it's the conversation I'd have with my teenage self. And then the fictional story is also something I love, because I keep looking at it. I'm like, I'd really love to see this in a comic book, in a cartoon at some point.
Actually a comic or a cartoon would be really cool.
Exactly, and that's part of what Wikitabu is working on in the near future. We hope to really get out and do more content. So this is our first year in business, but we've been able to do about 16 books, which for us is a big thing. And so this was our seminal book in terms of just putting something out there that was interesting. And I watched an interview with Alex Ntale, the CEO of Rwanda ICT Chamber, and he kept talking about how in Rwanda and a few other countries in Africa, we're trying to conquer space. And I'm hoping that as they read this, they'll get the life skills, but also they'll dream. You know, they'll dream that at some point they can be able to make this a reality.
I think so. There's different things I'm seeing here. There's afterburners, there's mentor cues, there's journal, and then they have different themes.
Exactly.
So maybe just explain those to us. How is the book structured? Yeah.
So that's something also interesting I had to really consider. So what we did is, first we have the fictional story, and the fictional story is about Max. Here's the interesting thing about Max. Throughout the whole book, I try not to say he or she, and not because of the whole gender conversation going on, but because I wanted the reader to think of themselves. And so I chose a name that's very unisex.
Neutral or
exactly.
Unisex.
Maxine can be Maxwell. And I keep it's so me and you. Let's have this conversation.
All right.
And then we have the life skills bit, and then after that we have the journal bit where they can do their own notes within the books. And then after that we have afterburners, which are a series of questions that allow for evaluation. So either personal or group evaluation. We ask them to go through the book together with their friends. So we ask them to form a crew. You know, you're going to space together. So you're not doing this alone. And that's partly why we did 4 books. And then after that, we have mentor cues. So for mentor cues, what I did is engage so people like you. Just, you're my friend, you've been to high school, here's a topic. Write something about it, 1,000 words or 1,200 words. Inspire the young person reading this book. And then at the very end, we had mentor bios. So give a bit of your bio. So we have a lady who works at the UN. We have a young man who has his own business in leadership.
Okay.
We have someone who's a pastor. We have someone who's gone through drug addiction and recovered from it. So they just give their own experiences.
All right.
Yeah.
Mary, coming to you, I like that this, and as I hear him talk about the structure of the
Yes.
book, I literally do see how it is a companion for high schoolers and not just a fictional read.
Yes.
And maybe, you know, because you've said you are a mom, I don't know how old your kids are, but you I think reflecting on your own journey and the reasons as to which you stepped into it. Maybe you can, into this project, maybe you can just touch a bit about that as far as this being that companion, because it's almost something that we neglect. Like, high school is a challenging time.
Exactly. This is when your body is changing. You're not too sure who you are as a person. You're getting all this impact from, you know, the teachers, your friends, your peers.
Yeah.
You're being pushed in a certain way. And then in Kenya, most of us go to boarding school. So we're away from family, we're away from positive influence. And now we are thrust into this space that is so unfamiliar to us.
Yeah.
And growing up, I had a couple of people who spoke into my life and gave me guidance. My mother was one of them. In fact, when I went through a very terrible period in my life, my mother took me to people, especially women who had gone through something similar. And for me, that was so, so powerful. So I endeavor to do the same for younger Kenyans and tell them, look, I'll listen. Even if it's 5 minutes, I'll listen.
Yeah.
There's somebody who listens and will help one way or another.
Yeah.
And once you unburden yourself, you get this cathartic feeling that, you know, this is okay. Somebody listened.
Yeah.
I'm in a better space. And we're hoping that that book can be that form of a catharsis where you have this companion. Yes, it's fun, it's interesting, but you also are getting a lot of guidance.
Sure.
Like, for instance, he asked me to write about image. And I was like, okay,
Good
this is
grooming,
interesting.
actually.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, he did a
re-edited
good
my
job.
paper so many times, my article.
Yeah.
But I finally found a teenage voice that was
Okay.
relevant to young Kenyans. And again, nothing very female or male, enough for both to understand this is what image means.
Yeah.
And image is very important, as you understand, especially in the field that you're in.
Sure,
People judge you
absolutely.
just by looking at you.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Very quickly, 2 more things before I let you guys go. Kipchirchir Chamite on Facebook says, Musa Asubuhi, what a name. Anyway, and then you say, how do you clearly describe what is teenage content, especially when dealing with, say, for example, sexuality, considering the acceptance, like sort of the sort of issues that we're dealing with today in 2019? Are those some of the things that you have addressed in this book or perhaps hope to address?
Yes, so we have a topic on sexuality, we have a topic on drugs, and for me, the point was first put out what I'd love to have listened to when I was a teenager,
Right.
and then engage other teenagers in terms of learning from them. And
Okay.
is this the right content? Do you feel we're hitting the mark? Do you feel we're not? Do you feel it's too Christianese? Do you feel like we're preaching at you? Do you feel like you're getting the right content? And so we've been going through that process of empathizing, putting out ideas, understanding what we need to do, and then putting back the content together. So that's what led us to this point.
Okay. Great. Well, you need to tell us where you can find the book, because someone here was asking for it. And someone says that's a must-have for any teenager. Lucy from Limuru saying she calls them the Teenage Bible. Interesting. I wonder if she's read the series.
Interesting.
That would be great. Okay. So how can people get the books?
Just right now we're taking pre-orders. So currently it's interesting though that this is sort of like launching it.
Okay.
Interesting, yeah. So we're taking
Yay.
pre-orders. So order at wikitabu.co.ke. Just send in your number and we'll reach out to you.
How much is it?
Each copy sells at 400 shillings.
Okay,
So
so
that's
you
about
can get the
600.
whole bunch for 1,600.
Exactly. And
Okay.
and if you'd want a sleeve to come with it,
Okay.
we'd be happy to do that for you.
Okay. All right. Well, 4 books there, 1,600 bob, or you can get each copy at 400 bob, and you just go pole pole, and you can get it from wikitabu.
Order at
wikitabu.co.ke. Also, just drop them an email.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much
Thank
for coming
you
on
so
to
much.
Full
Thank
Circle
you.
of Joyce. It's been, Full Circle of Joyce. Full Circle with Joyce. It's been great talking to you guys, and we're going to take a short break as we get ready for our final guest today, where we're going to be looking at our final personal development topic today, which is team building. Stay tuned. This is Full Circle with Joyce.